They screamed smile for the camera, and I did. Just for a second. Just before I felt hands shove me hard from behind. My feet missed the top stair, and I plunged forward, arms flailing knees, slamming head, cracking against something cold and unyielding. I remember the laughter echoing above me, sharp, cruel, immortalized in a phone held high. When I woke up, I couldn't move my neck. My wrists were purple. My right leg was a mangled question mark. And worst of all, the video was already viral. My name is Lily Torres. I'm 16 years old, and I used to be invisible. I wasn't popular, but I wasn't weird either. I floated in the middle, careful not to disturb anyone, especially girls like Erica Zoe and Mads, the ruling trio, at Fairview High. Beautiful, confident, always in sync, and always filming. Everything they did was content, their outfits, their dances, their cruelty. I first landed on their radar during a class presentation 2 months ago. Erica called my handwriting serial killer chic loud enough for everyone to laugh. I laughed too. You have to, or they come harder. But laughing didn't save me. They noticed my silence, my thrift store outfits, the way I flinched when people stared. And when I dropped my lunch tray in the cafeteria that day, pure accident, it was the final spark. She's comedy gold, Mads had said, giggling. Let's do something big. I didn't know they were planning anything serious. They started small. Snide comments in the hallway, snapping gum right in my ear, stealing my notebook and doodling male anatomy on every page. But I kept quiet. That's how you survive school, right? Keep your head down. Then came the day of the fall. It was a Friday. I had just finished math tutoring and was heading down the east stairwell. I heard footsteps behind me and laughter. Before I could turn around, Erica's voice rang out. Smile. I reflexively turned toward the camera, forced a nervous grin. The flash went off, and then I was airborne. I don't remember hitting the floor, just the feeling of gravity vanishing, of time slicing in half. I must have blacked out before the pain really started, but they didn't call for help right away. They filmed me twitching, groaning, and added music. Auto-tuned my moans, wrote in glitter text, "Drama queen takes a tumble." That's the video the world saw. Not the shove, not the impact. Just the aftermath edited like a TikTok challenge. And while I lay unconscious, my life was being twisted into a meme. The beeping was the first thing I heard when I woke up, steady, annoying, but oddly comforting. I blinked against the harsh hospital lights. My head throbbed, and my neck was stiff, locked in a brace. A cast encased my right leg, and my arm was wrapped in something bulky. For a moment, I thought I was dreaming. But then I saw my mom sitting at the edge of the bed, face pale, phone clenched tightly in her hand. She didn't say hi. She didn't ask how I felt. She just said we need to talk. That's when I learned the video had gone viral. Millions of views, thousands of likes, people commenting laughing emojis, remixing it with sound effects, giving me nicknames like Drama Queen Down and Stareface. One influencer even used it as background for a makeup tutorial. I felt like I was still falling. They didn't mean it, my mom said, her voice trembling. It was a prank, Lily. A joke that went too far. I stared at her in disbelief. A joke I could have broken my spine. They're just kids, she said softly, avoiding my eyes. And they're influential. If we make this into a big thing, it could ruin everything for them. For you. So that was it. Silence. To protect them. To avoid drama. Even though I was the one lying in a hospital bed, body bruised, bones, fractured dignity shattered. A few hours later, the principal visited me. His tie was too tight and his smile too fake. He called the incident unfortunate, said the girls felt deeply sorry. They'd already posted an apology video if anyone was offended by our content. We apologize with love. He ended the meeting by asking if I'd be willing to forgive and move forward for the good of the school environment. I said nothing. My silence, once a shield, now felt like a betrayal to myself. The next morning, I made the mistake of scrolling through my phone. Airdropped footage, comments from classmates' DMs filled with pity, cruelty, and confusion. One message stood out. You looked so pathetic. It was actually hilarious, LOL. I turned off my phone and cried into my pillow until my stitches burned. Even the nurse, Claire, who adjusted my brace, gave me that look, pity mixed with, "You're probably overreacting." I wasn't seen as a victim. I was seen as the star of a funny video. A piece of content. That's what hurt the most, not the fracture in my tibia. Not the gash on my chin. Not even the nightmares where I kept falling and never hit the ground. What hurt was being reduced to a punchline. And everyone from the school to the viewers to my own parents was telling me to laugh along or shut up. But I wasn't going to stay quiet forever. Not this time. I was home after a week in the hospital navigating my house with a walker and a plastic brace around my neck like a cage. Every movement hurt, but what stung more was the way my parents treated me like a burden. My mom avoided eye contact. My dad buried himself in work. They didn't want confrontation. They wanted things to go back to normal. But I couldn't forget. And I couldn't forgive. At school, the girls went on with their lives. Erica posted a photo with the caption, "Haters don't heal you. Love does." They posed in front of the gym like nothing happened. Not even a suspension. Not even a warning. Just likes, comments, and more followers. Victimhood was apparently a costume they wore better than me. When I emailed the school counselor asking to talk, she replied, "I've reviewed the video. It does not clearly indicate an act of aggression. Let's focus on healing and positivity." Healing. Right. While the people who hurt me made brand deals and lip-synced in crop tops, I went back to school in late October. The minute I entered the hallway, everything went quiet. I could feel the stares. Some were curious. Some were mocking. One guy whispered, "Didn't know she survived." I kept walking. They called me Robot Girl because of the neck brace. A group of freshmen followed me around making beep-boop noises. In gym class, someone pretended to trip down the bleachers in slow motion and screamed Lily style. The teacher just sighed. But I wasn't the same girl they'd pushed. Underneath the shame, something colder had taken root in anger. And it wasn't the kind that exploded. It was the quiet, calculating kind. I started collecting everything. Screenshots, archived stories, comments under the original video. I downloaded every version of the clip, especially the one from Zoe's Instagram, uncropped with shadows in the background. That's where I saw it. A brief frame half a second long where Zoe's phone angle revealed Mad's hands right behind me. Pushing. Clear as day. No one noticed it in the edited version they shared, but there it was proof. I emailed it to myself. Multiple accounts, flash drive, Google Drive. Printed a screenshot and taped it inside a book I knew my parents wouldn't touch. I wasn't sure yet what I would do with it. But knowing I had it, knowing the truth existed outside of their twisted narrative was enough to keep me going. One day in the bathroom, I caught a girl staring at me. She looked away, then said barely above a whisper, "They did the same thing to my cousin last year, but she dropped out." I turned to her. "What's her name?" That was the moment I realized I wasn't alone. I was just the first one who refused to disappear. Returning to school felt like walking into enemy territory each morning. My neck brace itched constantly. The walker squeaked with every step, and whispers trailed behind me like a shadow I couldn't outrun. But something inside me had shifted. I was no longer waiting to be rescued. I was building my own case, one bitter step at a time. I started keeping a journal disguised as a sketchpad, where I noted everything. The times they laughed when I passed the teachers who looked away, the classmates who reshared the video even after pretending to feel bad. I cataloged screenshots, timestamps, usernames. But I didn't just want revenge. I wanted truth, undeniable and ugly. I wanted to hold up a mirror so bright they'd finally see what they'd done, and so would everyone else. One ally emerged unexpectedly. Alex. He was a quiet junior with shaggy hair and headphones always around his neck. We'd had chemistry together the year before, but never spoke. He found me in the library one afternoon, dropped a flash drive on the table, and said, "You're not crazy. They edited it. Here's the original my friends screen-recorded Zoe's live before they deleted it." I stared at him stunned. It shows everything he added. All of them laughing before. The push. The delay before calling anyone. I whispered, "Why are you helping me?" He shrugged. "Because I hate fake people. And you didn't deserve that." It was the first time in months I felt seen. Not pitied. Seen. With Alex's help, I spent the next week editing together a full sequence. Uncut, untouched, unfiltered, start to finish. I added subtitles, date stamps even slowed the moment of the push to make it undeniable. Every laugh, every insult. Every second of hesitation before they called for help, but I didn't release it right away. Instead, I requested to speak at the upcoming school assembly. It was the annual Digital Responsibility and Kindness. Week a parade of empty posters and lectures. I emailed the principal offering to share my story in front of everyone. To encourage healing, I wrote. He agreed. The day of the assembly, I dressed with purpose. No brace anymore, just a slight limp and a fire behind my eyes. I stepped onto the stage and looked out at the sea of faces, some curious, some bored, some nervous. I took a deep breath, then said, "My name is Lily Torres. You might know me as the girl who fell." I pressed play, and silence fell like a curtain. For 6 minutes they watched the raw footage, not the music, not the edits, just cruelty documented and undeniable. The room shifted. Some gasped, some whispered. Teachers stared at each other stunned. Erica's face went pale. Mads slouched lower in her seat. I didn't say anything when it ended. I didn't need to. The truth had spoken for itself. The aftermath hit faster than I expected. The room was dead silent when the video ended, but the tension snapped the moment the principal stood up, flustered, stammering something about needing to investigate further. But it was too late. The truth was out, and everyone had seen it with their own eyes. By lunch, the school was on fire, figuratively. The assembly video filmed by someone in the front row was already posted online with the caption, "She exposed them live." No edits, just facts. It had over 100K views by third period. Erica's comment section turned toxic. People flooded her page with snake emojis and hashtags like "Justice for Lily." Zoe deleted her TikTok account entirely. Mads tried to post a crying apology, but the comments were brutal. "You weren't crying when she hit the floor." That night I got a call from the school board's investigator. He asked for my files. I sent everything, timestamps, video sources, screenshots, even the journal pages. He said, "This is thorough, really thorough. We're going to take action." The next morning, Erica, Zoe, and Mads were called out of homeroom. Whispers flew. Some people cheered when their names were read out over the intercom. Others stared at me like I had summoned a hurricane. By noon, they were suspended indefinitely. By Friday, their influencer sponsorships started dropping. One company tweeted, "We've ended all partnerships with the individuals involved. We do not tolerate bullying in any form." Another added, "Our brand stands with victims, not viral cruelty." It was strange watching the very platforms they used to mock me become the tools of their undoing. I won't lie, I felt powerful, but not invincible, because beneath the public fallout, I still had to face private scars. My limp didn't magically disappear. My trust in people didn't rebuild overnight. I still jumped at sudden noises. I still dreamed of falling, but something had changed, not just in me but around me. More students started speaking up. One girl emailed me saying they shoved me into a locker in 8th grade. I never told anyone until now. Another said, "Your story gave me the courage to file a report." Thank you. Even teachers started paying closer attention. They looked us in the eyes now. They listened when someone whispered, "I'm not okay." As for Alex, he became my closest friend. We ate lunch together, walked to class together, and one day he looked at me and said, "I hope you know what you did matters. Not just for you, for all of us." I smiled, really smiled this time. Not because someone told me to, but because I meant it. What they tried to break in me had only made me sharper. They wanted content. I gave them consequences. They wanted silence. But I learned how to roar. The final blow came when the school district released a public statement. After thorough investigation, we have determined that the students involved in the incident violated multiple codes of conduct. Effective immediately, they are expelled from the district. It was read over the announcements on a Monday morning. No one clapped, no one cheered, but the silence was a different kind this time. Respectful. Acknowledging. The girls disappeared after that. Their accounts wiped their names, whispered like cautionary tales. Parents used them as warnings to their kids. Don't be like those girls. In the very halls where they once reigned, they became ghosts. And I became something else. Reporters reached out to me, but I turned them down. I didn't want my face plastered on clickbait headlines. I didn't want to become another story for people to scroll past. I wanted change. Quiet, meaningful change. So I joined the school's digital ethics committee. I worked with counselors to create anonymous reporting tools. I wrote a blog under a pen name, sharing what had happened, not to go viral, but to connect. My words weren't polished or dramatic, just honest. The real impact came from the whispers. The thank yous in stairwells. The sticky notes on my locker with words like brave and I believe you. One afternoon, I found a folded letter in my locker. No name, just messy handwriting. I watched them push you. I was too scared to speak. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve any of it. You're the strongest person I know. I cried in the bathroom that day, not out of pain, but release. I wasn't alone anymore. I never had been. Physically, I was healing. My limp was lighter now, the brace long gone. But I knew I'd carry this with me forever, and oddly, I was okay with that. The scars reminded me of what I'd survived, what I'd done, who I had become. Even my parents, who once told me to stay silent, had changed. My mom apologized in tears after the board's ruling. My dad offered to help print flyers for the anti-bullying week I helped organize. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. As I walked through the halls now, people moved out of my way, not in fear, but in recognition. Not as the girl who fell, but the girl who stood back up and made the world watch. And one day, when a freshman nervously asked, "Are you really that Lily?" I smiled, not the smile they tried to force, but a real one. "Yes," I said. "And you don't have to stay quiet either. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this silence is not peace. It's a cage." For too long, I let fear keep me quiet, convinced that speaking out would only make things worse. But the truth, staying silent nearly broke me. The world won't always believe victims at first. Sometimes people would rather laugh than listen. But that doesn't mean the truth is any less powerful. It just means you have to be louder, smarter, and braver than the lies. To anyone who feels invisible or humiliated, know this. Your pain matters. Your voice matters. And the moment you choose to stand up, even if your knees shake, you begin to rewrite your story. I wasn't just pushed down the stairs. I climbed back up, and I made sure the world saw every step.